how would a loss impact and how we look at Curry's overall career?
This is a very important series from that standpoint. The stats do not indicate Game 7 against Cleveland, the year the Cavs beat them, where he was awful, shooting threes and turning the ball over and was outplayed by Kyrie Irving. Somehow that's not in there, where he was not good in the big game and could not get his team home up 3-1 in that series with 2 home games. Let's not forget that before we sit there and put Curry on this high class, as I think my little buddy over here might do here momentarily. Here's the thing about Curry. He's won 3 titles, okay? The first title that he won, if you care about MVPs in the NBA Finals, he wasn't. They beat Cleveland in 6 games. Cavs had no Kyrie, no Kevin Love, and if you want to go look at the Cavalier lineup in Game 6, Stephen A. and I could have started. I mean, Deladova, I mean, that was as bad as you ever going to say. It was a horrendous team that LeBron took to a Game 6. The other 2 finals, Durant was the better player. All right? So to me, and then he lost a horrendous loss when the Cavs beat him. So to me, from that standpoint, this is a very significant series here against the Celtics.
Well, first of all, a couple of things. I mean, I love how you point certain things out. First of all, the year Andre Iguodala won the MVP, that could have easily gone to Steph Curry. A lot of people thought that he deserved it. But Andre Iguodala was so pivotal in key moments, particularly defensively, that you had to give him some love. Plus, he hit a lot of big-time shots because he was wide open because they were teaming up on Curry. But I would remind you that Curry played lights out in that NBA Finals, the first one that they won against that suspect lineup that you pointed out. Fair enough. When he goes against LeBron James and them, when they lost the 3-1 lead, he was awful in the last 3 games. He was shooting, I mean, horrifically compared to what we're accustomed to seeing him. Plus, he had like 7 assists and 12 turnovers over the course of those last 3 games. So definitely he has to be indicted for that. But I recall Magic Johnson once being called Tragic Johnson because Magic Johnson struggled in the postseason in the finals against the Boston Celtics. Remember when Dennis Johnson stripped him? You remember when he turned the ball over on 3 separate occasions, okay? And they lost that NBA Finals of Game 7 to the Boston Celtics. But they came back and won. I love how we remember what Magic Johnson went through and what he overcame, but we want to forget what Steph Curry overcame. Now, granted, Kevin Durant arrived there, and we understand that. Well, why did Kevin Durant arrive there? Because LeBron had a healthy Kyrie Irving. LeBron had a healthy Kevin Love. And obviously, before that, he was in Miami, and he had assembled with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and all of this other stuff. And Kevin Durant was like, well, why can't I do that? Now, I didn't like the move to Golden State because they had just beaten them they had just overcome a 3-1 lead and beaten Oklahoma City Thunder. So 30 days later, you go to that team that beat you. I didn't have any respect for that at all. But outside of that, there is no denying that Kevin Durant is one of the elite talents the game has ever seen. And Steph Curry not being better than Kevin Durant is no shade. People want to act like that, but if you look at Steph Curry's career numbers, he's averaging over 25, 6, and 5 in the NBA playoffs throughout his career. This is a guy, and you know, people treat him like he just falls off the map and suddenly forgets how to play. No, he still balls. It's just that he had to be a bit deferential in terms of his talent. It's one of the greatest offensive players this game has ever seen. And you could bring up Bird, you could bring up Magic, you could bring up Jordan, you could bring up the very, very best that has ever existed in NBA history. Kevin Durant as an offensive player is in that conversation because that is how lethal he is. So let's pump the brakes a little bit on being critical of Steph Curry and instead recognize the fact that it's no crime in not being Kevin Durant. 6'11" with a 7'6" wingspan that can shoot from threes, got a mid-range game that's lethal, can finish in the open court, can score, can generate, can register at 88% free throw shooting. This is Kevin freaking Durant that we're talking about here. Let's respect that when we're talking about Steph Curry.
Listen, I'm with you about Durant, but Stephen conveniently forgot that before Magic collapsed against the Celtics in '84, he scored 40-something points with millions of assists in Game 6 against Philly when he was a rookie and won a championship and Kareem didn't play. You forgot about that.
I did not forget about that. Are you going to forget that he was going against Caldwell Jones
and
Chocolate Thunder, Darryl Dawkins, who by the time, let's go from an historical perspective. You know this, Darryl Dawkins, God rest his soul, was a walking foul. The man breathing in the ring. I mean, the number one thing that would happen that Darryl Dawkins couldn't stay in the game for 10 minutes at a time to save his life. He'd pick up 6 fouls fouls in that period of time. That's who Magic Johnson was going up against. That and Caldwell Jones, who nobody's writing home about. So stop it.
Well, he also won another championship against Philly, so you're killing Magic for 84.
Magic.
He only won 2 titles.
Don't you dare say I'm killing Magic.
You're putting him with the Durant. You're putting him with Curry. That's ridiculous.
Magic Johnson's going to be working with us tomorrow night at the Chase Center. Don't you act like I'm killing Magic Johnson. I'm doing no such thing. And he's watching right now. I got to be careful.
And he was awful. The bar of soap, him and Cooper taking showers after they lost Game 7 against Boston. He was awful.
Well,
I'm with you. But come on now. You have he was so upset. He was all upset because, in fact, they were. But you seem to forget. Hold on now. Magic won the 2, plus he won in college. So to sit there and even say, well, hold on now. Magic had a bad series too. Wait, Curry had a bad series.
Well, wait a minute.
Magic had won 3 times already.
But Magic was a champion, and Steph Curry was a champion before the 3-1 lead was lost. He was a champion already. He won the title first.
Against the team that you and I could have played for. Come on, Stevie. You're better than that.
Time out.
You're better.
Time out. It was still LeBron James on that team, number 1. Number 2, Golden State was young. It was their first time in the finals. They had never been there before. So Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, we didn't know what they were capable of. We didn't know they were going to be who they are. We didn't know this at the time. They were puppies. Okay, that was their first time in that kind of atmosphere, and they handled their business.
Shumpert, Tristan Thompson, and Musgrove.
Hey.
That is. I can get the guys, the Big Key shot and Jay Williams at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
No,
that is as big as it gets.
They would not lose.
You get no credit for that if you're Curry for beating that nonsense.
You get no credit for it. How about the credit to get to the finals before you actually won it? Let's not forget that, okay? This is a championship that we're talking about here. And all I'm trying to say to you is this. When you look at it from the standpoint of Steph Curry and them getting there for the first time, he was a champion, and then they lost the 3-1 lead, okay, to LeBron and a Cleveland Cavaliers squad that was fully loaded. And then after that, because he played 73 games, they were trying to break the all-time record. They were doing all of that other stuff, and they exhausted themselves, and they came back to bite Steph Curry because he wasn't 100% healthy, which you know.
So now we have excuses now.
No excuses. It's fact.